welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another rant stroke thought of the day. Funny one, this one actually. It's a bit of a football conspiracy theorist smorgasbord. They've got the tinfoil hats firmly on with this one, and it's a bit of a story, a bit of a question actually, which I don't really have the answer for. I've just read a brilliant piece about it in The Athletic by Matt Slater, who is covering this really, really well. He's got a lot of expert feedback and comments on it and everything else. So we'll put a link below, so I suggest you click on that and read that after watching this, and then see what you think about it as well. But the big question is, are the PIF of Saudi Arabia bailing Chelsea out of their FFP restriction breaches? Some question that is, and I don't have the answer. But looking at this, it definitely seems like people are adding 2 and 2 and making 6, I think, really. So the story goes is that PIF are one of the many investors into Todd Bowley's company Clear Lake. Obviously, Todd Bowley being the Chelsea manager, the crazy American who takes managerial advice off James Corden. But PIF are one of the many investors in his firm, and they do have a business relationship together. PIF invest in loads of companies, to be honest with you. They invest in Twitter, they invest in Disney, they invest in Formula One. They're all over the world. And ever since, all MBS, as his friends call them, decided to go and do global investments, that they've got their thumb in quite a lot of pies, really, to be honest with you. So it's no surprise that they are involved in the Chelsea ownership model, or the company that owns Chelsea in terms of their investment equity funds and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't really surprise me. I think you'd be quite naive in the world of financial spread that these kind of massive financially rich organizations aren't invested in loads of other places. Now, the question you've really got to ask yourself about this, and the reason this is coming to light, is there's a lot of Chelsea players reportedly leaving the Premier League, and the Saudi Arabian League are ready to line them up. Now, before you get your tinfoil hat on, and you get you're right, the world is ending on your piece of cardboard, just think about this logically, okay? Is this a question of the Saudi Arabian PIF bailing Chelsea out, or is this really a question that Chelsea have got such a fucking mismatched squad from years of just terrible decision making, that they've got a load of players on there coming at the wrong end of their career age-wise on massive contracts that no fucker wants to take? That could possibly be the case. I personally think that's what this is. I think it's a willing seller and a willing buyer coming together. They've got a business relationship already, and that's why they're trying to do this type of deal. So we've already seen N'Golo Kante go over to Saudi Arabia. I think Koulibaly's on his way there as well. But there's also talk about Lukaku going, about Aubameyang going, about Callum Hudson-Odoi going. You start listening to these players off, right? These players should have left fucking years ago. They should have left Chelsea at the height of their careers. I mean, Lukaku's had more clubs than fucking Tiger Woods, really, in all fairness to him. But, these players should have left Chelsea ages ago. Chelsea should have sold them on instead of just trying to hold all the players into a massive squad. You only have a 25-man squad. So it's just terrible mismanagement by Chelsea as a football club, under Abramovich previously and now under Bolly as well. And they've ended up with loads of these players. Looking at their wage bill, I think they posted a £150 million loss or something in the financial books last year. But this is the reason why they have to jettison all these players, and jettison them fucking pronto, or they're in big trouble. They didn't qualify for the Champions League, so they missed out on a massive windfall of cash there. They've sacked more managers and had big payouts there as well. They've got Pochettino in, probably on a decent contract. So they need to get some of these big earners off their books. And Saudi Arabian League, whether you like it or not right now, is throwing money at players who have not got a lot left in them to come and play there for 2 or 3 years, just to increase the profile of their league. You can go see Ronaldo and Benzema and Kante and Lukaku and all these huge names. They'll advertise it all around the world. They'll try and get television deals and all this kind of stuff. So that's what they're trying to do. But obviously everybody's up in arms here, dragging the PIF into it. But this is the big question you've got to ask yourself, right? If the PIF were going to use any football club to cheat FFP regulations in the Premier League, why the fuck would they use Chelsea and not the one that they own 80% of a stake in Newcastle United? Surely, if that's what their goal was here, we would be signing all these massive players at Newcastle United. Remember when we first got taken over and people were doing them FIFA lineups with like Ronaldo and Messi and Thanos and Spider-Man, all this other shit, and they would be doing that to Newcastle United, not to Chelsea. That just makes no sense whatsoever. If you get your head out of the clouds, stop, eating tins of beans in your mum's basement with the lights off, and just wake up and come into the real world here. If they were going to do that, they would use the club that they own the majority stake in. It's as simple as that. This is just a question of Chelsea needing to sell, Saudi Arabia willing to buy, and that's what's happening. Teams in France aren't going to give them the money that they want for Kante or pay him the wages he wants. Teams in Serie A aren't going to pay Lukaku probably the money that he wants to as well. That's what he wants to go back to Inter Milan, reportedly, to his credit, Lukaku doesn't want to go to the Saudi Arabian league. But Messi's decided not to go into Milan. If they don't want to go to Saudi, the players, they don't have to go to Saudi. But you have to rely on another league and another team coming in and paying the package that they want. And if they're not going to do that, then you're pretty short on takers, really. Chelsea have to get rid of so much of this dead wood in their squad, or players that there's no way they're going to play under Mauricio Pochettino. And that's why they're shipping them all out. They're desperate to get rid of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they've contacted the likes of Newcastle and tried to get them to take them because of the relationship with Pierre. And Eddie Howe's not interested. Dan Ashworth's not interested. Newcastle don't want that spotlight in them because in the Premier League, it's more heavily regulated. I mean, I did see in the article there was a piece apparently that any transaction in the Premier League over £1 million has the right to be analysed by the Premier League. And if the Premier League think that somebody's paying 3 times the price of a player's market value, they can intervene and they can scrap that deal. So that's an interesting one. Again, read the piece and see what you think about it. But everybody's up in arms about this. And obviously, the usual suspects have come out. Gary Neville has come out. And I like Gary Neville. He's very outspoken and I do like listening to him talk. But sometimes you can just smell the bitterness in the, why isn't this happening to my club? Eroding from him, really, like an aroma, like a fucking plug-in smelly from collectibles or something like that. Little plug for collectibles there if you want to sponsor us. But no, this is what Gary Neville turned around and said. I mean, he has been talking about having a regulator for a long time, but Gary Neville has turned around and put pressure on the football committees in the Premier League and said that the Premier League need to investigate these Saudi deals. This can't be right. They need to look into it. And all this sort of stuff, right? But I would ask Gary Neville, would he be doing that if Manchester United were full of players on the wrong side of 30 on 400 grand a week that they needed to get the fuck out of there, or they were going to get nailed to the wall by FFP? You watch how quiet Gary Neville would be then. He would say fuck all. It's because it's not Manchester United, and that's why he's pipping up and saying what he's saying. I guarantee you, if Manchester United were full of those players, he would say nothing. Same as Carragher would say nothing if it was Liverpool. They cannot get their head away. They can't get their blinkers off from their own football clubs, right? And that's the reason why Gary Neville is pipping up and saying it, right? But what will happen if the football governing bodies feel under pressure? Again, the spotlight will go further onto Newcastle United. We're trying to get a deal done for James Maddison. We're going back with a reasonable offer of 45 to 50 million quid. Leicester wants 60 million quid because they have to sell on some money to Norwich, I think it is, as part of the deal. That ain't our problem, right? You've been relegated. The guy's got a year left in his contract. 45 million quid is a good offer for James Maddison. Take it. And Newcastle United have apparently said to Leicester, you've got a week to decide, and then we're fucking off for other targets. And I respect that massively by the football club. But going back to this, if the likes of Gary Neville start crying up and pipping up and TalkSport and all these other fucking idiots start pipping up and popping up, then Newcastle United will get dragged under the microscope yet again because it's by association. Because the PIF own a majority stake in us, they will drag us under the microscope yet again. But this has nothing to do with us. This is Chelsea Football Club. So analyse Chelsea, put Chelsea under a microscope and see what Chelsea are doing, right? But if the Premier League are investigating these deals, as it says in the piece, for £1 million plus, then surely the Premier League will see if there's a problem with it. So take it up with the Premier League. But in my opinion, tinfoil hat firmly off. I don't believe there's anything in this at all. I just think it's a question of Chelsea needing to get rid of loads of old players who are done on massive contracts. And the Saudi Arabian League right now is the only game in town willing to pay these guys more probably than what they've ever earned in the peak of their careers. So the players are going to run over there, swim over there, fly over there, whatever they need to do to get those contracts done. They don't give a shit. This is their retirement home. And they'll grow that league up to a standard because there'll be high-quality players and high-profile players in there that hopefully the next batch of great young players might come and play in Saudi Arabia. And that is what they want. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. I just think it's a bit of hyperbole and bollocks in the press. And I'm really, really chuffed that the Athletic have kind of nobbled it out, really. One of the experts actually called it a nothing burger, one of the financial experts. So that tells you everything that you need to know, really, about that. But read the piece. It's absolutely brilliant. And if you like the kind of thing that we've just done, click subscribe, come and join us. We're over 3,800 subs. We're closing in 4K. Want to be there for the start of the season. Smash the button. Come and join us. We'll be back with loads of Newcastle United content soon. This is Chris signing off. We'll catch you later, everybody. Cheers now. Bye-bye.